Jeez, Europe is a weird place.
That should just be like, that should be the beginning before the intro. Just, geez, Europe is a weird place.
Is this... Oh, I should probably pull my mic, like, in front of my face. Do I sound better now?
You were sounding fine before.
Okay, good.
Yeah. If anything, you sound worse.
Shut up.
Hey guys, welcome to demguyspodcast, and you know the rest.
What is wrong with your
Wow, Drew's phoning it in today.
voice? Yikes. Just because you're off work today.
Hey, wait a second. What is this voice that I just heard?
Who?
This is not a voice that I recognize.
Who is it?
Do we have a guest this week?
I can't hear
I
them.
think we must.
Hello? Can you guys hear me?
Hi, SnoShoe.
Yeah, who's the guest?
You are.
I'm not a guest. I guess my name is not in the title. So technically, I'm a recurring guest.
You're a special guest star.
Wow.
Oh man, but yeah, was it episode 22? Maybe was the last time you were on.
Two whole episodes ago. It's crazy.
Well, and then with the gaps that we've had between episodes with the holidays, it feels like it's been forever.
It has been a while. It's been what? When was that? When was episode 22 last? When was it uploaded?
I don't know. I'd have to look up when it was actually uploaded. It was probably like about a month ago.
It was exactly December 3rd.
December 3rd. Okay,
a month and 16 days ago today.
There you go.
Yeah.
So yeah, but it's the regular three guys. We're all here: Drew, Slash, and SnoShoe.
Well, I, for one, am glad that the listenership gets to listen to the sultry tones of SnoShoe.
Even though they all thought An Ariston was better.
No, I read the comments. There were two comments, and one was diplomatic and wrong, and the other one was biased.
And there were no comments saying, no, don't replace SnoShoe.
Okay, listenership.
Just for the record.
This is a call to action. If you would like me to remain on the podcast, please comment in the comment section.
Comment in the description?
I almost said comment in the description. Whatever, do that
Hack
YouTube
into our
thing.
account and change the description.
Do the YouTube thing you guys know how to do and say hashtag #KeepSnow2015.
Wow. There you go. Get
Hashtags
it trending on Twitter, too.
Yeah.
You can do that, actually.
Wow.
Yeah. Now that
do you not understand
G
how
is,
YouTube works?
Yeah.
No, I just hate hashtags.
Oh.
Drew is an anti-hashtag person.
Hipster.
Well, you know what? You can also email us at demguyspodcast@gmail.com.
Oh my god.
Oh, no!
I messed it up.
No!
I messed it up.
Oh, he's so out of practice.
No.
It's so bad.
Hang on. Do it again. Take two.
demguyspodcast@gmail.com.
DEMGUYSPODCAST@gmail.com.
Oh, you're not making your case any better, man.
I just wanted to make sure I got it right that time.
You didn't even spell Gmail.
I never spelled Gmail.
I thought you did sometimes.
No, I never do. I just say it fast enough to where it sounds like I'm spelling it really fast.
I suspect that we can find audio evidence to the contrary of your current claims, but that's fine.
We're
also on Twitter.
That's not true.
We're also on Twitter in case you want to abuse hashtags and tick off Drew, and that's at demguyspodcast.
At DMGYSPODCST.
There, he's back.
Woo! Getting warmed up. It's like it's a weed eater. You gotta pull the string a couple times and then it gets going.
Oh, man. Well, since you were not with us for episode 23 and a half.
It wasn't good. I heard it.
It was fantastic, and no, you didn't. You did not
Both
listen.
of those are probably true.
That is how dedicated you are, is that he didn't bother to listen to that one.
Nope.
But that's cool. Drew and I last sort of appetizer episode, I guess, we talked about our Christmases. But since you have not had an opportunity to, regale us with your Christmas experience and any cool stuff you may have received as gifts, please feel free now. Impress us.
Well, you know what's crazy? Christmas was not even a month ago yet. Didn't it feel like it's been 6 months since Christmas, or is that just me?
It feels like a long time since Christmas, yeah. It does for me.
It is not even a month ago. That's insane to me. But yeah, so I made out like a bandit this Christmas. First of all, I got a brand new... You ready for it?
I think.
It's on the dock, so you guys already know. I got a Wii U!
Yeah.
Wii-hoo.
Oh, a Wii U!
Yeah, so I got the two games that are on Wii U to go with it. So I've got Super
There's
Smash
a lot more
Bros.
than
and
two.
Mario Kart 8. there's 2 that are worth playing, and then there's the rest.
I would argue that, but whatever.
What would you argue?
Well, there's at least a third one that's worth playing, Hyrule Warriors.
That's debatable. I mean, I haven't played it, but it's not my style of game, so... What I'm really holding out for, though, Mario Party's coming out eventually. I don't know the exact date on that one. And then the new Zelda game is coming out, and not the too distant future.
What is that one? What are they calling that one?
Zelda.
Yeah.
Subtitle.
Zelda. It's just Zelda. Link isn't even in it.
And then they're also coming out with a new Star Fox game before the Zelda game comes out.
Ah.
Yeah. And I mean, they haven't made a Star Fox game since Star Fox 64, have they?
I don't think so. Not in the typical...
Yeah.
Not in the typical style, no, yeah.
And the way Nintendo does things, I'm expecting pretty good things from that.
I would certainly hope so. Star Fox, I thought, was something that they could have really parlayed into a bigger franchise than it was. Because it was fantastic on the Super Nintendo, and they made it amazing, I thought, on the Nintendo 64. And I've gone back and I've played that like this past summer. I think I played through Star Fox 64 again, and it's just so much fun. And it was funny because I look back and I was like, wow, the graphics that seemed so awesome at the time don't really hold up as well today, but it's still a really fun game. So I can't only imagine what they would do with it on the Wii U.
Well, that's been my one takeaway from the Wii U. I mean, I've had a couple, I guess, but my one main takeaway is how fantastic the graphics are so far. Like Mario Kart, some of the levels are just, I mean, I just want to watch the computer drive them because they're just beautiful. And that's what I'm really excited about for Star Fox, maybe. I haven't seen any actual gameplay of that, so I'm not sure. But there is a YouTube video, which will be my video recommendation of the week if you haven't seen it, to go look at the release trailer. Not really trailer, it's just kind of the release announcement for the new Zelda game. So, and
cool.
The surround, like, it's supposed to be all, I don't know. I'm worried because they're saying it's open world, and everything that has ever been billed as open world has sucked. So we'll see how that works. But no, there's some pretty cool stuff coming up on it.
That's cool. Now, the Wii U is the first one that actually outputs HD graphics, right? Because the Wii U, I think, was standard def.
Is that right? I didn't know
think
that.
so. Because we have a Wii, and I'm pretty sure that it goes as 480p. I think is the top resolution that outputs. Interesting. Yeah,
I never noticed that. But yeah, it's definitely high definition. It's fantastic. And the gamepad, okay, I was leery about the gamepad because why would they, I mean, all the peripherals that have ever come with consoles have not been very good, right?
Right.
I can't think of one off the top of my head that's been very good. But the gamepad, and I mean, it's kind of integrated with the console, so it makes a little more sense. But it is really good, the way they've done everything. And the software of the gamepad, it makes so much sense in every scenario. I don't know.
It's interesting. I have not had any hands-on experience with the Wii U just because it's just not in the budget to get new consoles in this house these days.
Yeah. I don't know if I would have gotten it. Like, I'm still holding out for the PS4 because there's really not something that's drawing my attention to go buy a PS4 that I can't play on the PS3 except for NBA 2K15. But that's just me. We don't talk about sports on this podcast.
No, not really. No.
Anyway. Snow what?
I just wanted to mention 2 things. One, I know to some degree Smash Bros. Has a cross-platform capability between Wii U and 3DS. If we can battle online with me on my 3DS and you on your Wii U, we should definitely do that.
I would totally be down for it. I can't imagine that's possible, is it?
I know
Battling
you can
between
use
consoles?
the 3DS as a controller. Like, you can link up your 3DS and play it, in the same room. So I think you can do it online. I'm not definitely sure, though.
Interesting. I've never owned a handheld console since the Game Boy, so...
You guys will have to give that a try and report back on the next podcast.
We should.
How that turned out.
I can tell you how it's going to turn out. We'll see if it works, but I can tell you how it's going to turn out if it does.
The other thing I wanted to mention...
going into it with an open mind.
Yeah. The other thing I wanted to mention is that we had talked... Well, you didn't listen to the last podcast. We had talked about how I wouldn't have a current-gen console in my house for many, many years, and I helped my brother buy an Xbox One, so we have an Xbox One now. Just
nice.
Thought I'd tell you that.
That's good.
It's shocking.
Now, I don't know. I'm still on the fence on the new-gen console wars. Now, Wii U, I think definitely if I had to purchase it myself, like I got this as a present from my parents, if I had to purchase it myself, I really think the Wii U probably would have been the first console I would have purchased because of the games. Like, I don't think I would have been able to sit not having Zelda or Star Fox 64, or, I mean, I was hankering for Mario Kart 8. I almost bought it when Mario Kart 8 came out. But, I don't know. There's nothing on the other consoles that makes me be like, yeah, I really need to get this right now.
Shadow of
I would
Mordor
agree
was
with
the one
that.
for me, but...
I've got that
Yeah.
on PC, though.
Okay, yeah,
But
sure.
yeah. Anyway. But yeah, that was my big Christmas present this year. I also got a couple random things. Like, I got new expansion for Settlers of Catan. It's not new. It's actually, if you guys don't know what Settlers of Catan is, you should. It's a really cool board game.
It's good, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty popular. I got Cities and Nights, which is the expansion. I haven't played it yet, but I'm excited to. And then we got another board game called Small World, which has
Small
the
World's
most...
awesome.
You've played
I
it?
love Small World, yeah.
I played it a couple times. It's really fun. But I will say about Small World, it has the most punch-outs I have ever seen in my life. Like, the card,
that's
when
true.
you open the box, you get this card that has, like, I mean, it's definitely got over 100 little cardboard pieces to punch out of it. And you're like, okay,
Oh, wow.
we'll get this. And you pick that one up, and there's another one behind it. And you're like, what in the world? And you pick that one up. There's like 4 or 5 of these cards. There had to have been over 500 punch-outs.
I mean, imagine if you picked up a copy of Risk, and all of the little army tokens had to be individually punched out from a piece of cardboard. That
Yeah.
gives you an idea of what the setup cost is for getting a game of Small World going right out of the box.
So the way we did
There's
it
a lot of stuff.
was my friend just held it up, and I just put both index fingers out and just all the way back and forth. Made a mess all over my kitchen. I'm sure we're probably still missing some pieces, but that's okay.
I just imagine you like Karate Kid style.
It was. I mean, like the speed at which if I could buy the game all over again just to do that again, it's probably worth it. It was like a $45 game, so it's probably worth it. But it was awesome. Had so much fun. I probably ripped some of the pieces too, but I didn't care.
I heard you also got a t-shirt.
I did get a t-shirt. I don't know who sent it to me. Actually, for listenership, I got a t-shirt from Jerusalem of the 43. I got a Dem Guys Podcast t-shirt, which is fantastic. It's nice. It's my favorite color, actually, dark blue.
There you go.
Yeah, which is also, this wasn't on the doc, but I'll say it. I got engaged since last time we talked.
Oh, hey, congratulations.
So that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of our wedding colors is going to be dark blue. That's why it reminded me.
Ah, I
So,
gotcha.
I'm off the market,
was
ladies.
Was this like a Christmas engagement?
It was after Christmas. It was not a Christmas Day engagement.
I gotcha.
Yeah. It's
My
post-Christmas.
sister-in-law actually just got engaged on Christmas this
Really?
year, so yeah, apparently it's, it was people that I know getting engaged is a thing.
There's a lot of people. This must be the engagement season or something. I don't
Yeah,
know.
Christmas time is kind of a popular time, I think.
You know, I
it's-
think it's because people don't want to spend the money to get their significant other's gifts, so they're like, well, maybe I'll just skimp on the gift and get a ring. So you
they'll totally forget that there's nothing else for them.
Well, that was
this
the
year
thing
from
with
me.
mine, was like, I got her some stuff, right? Just, it wasn't the greatest gift, and I don't know if I've said this on the podcast, her birthday is like just a couple days before Christmas, and our old anniversary, our dating anniversary was in December also. So it was like, we had all these stinking holidays lined up. At least I did, she didn't really.
Right.
And so for her birthday, I went to Bed Bath & Beyond, and I was like, okay, what's something I can get here? Because I buy Christmas gifts and birthday gifts like the day before, and that's just how I do it. And so I went to Bed Bath & Beyond, and I was like, something has got to be here. What is it? What is it? What is it? And you look around one section, you're like, why does she want any of this stuff? She doesn't want that. And you go to another section. I found it, and it was a waffle maker. And so I bought her a waffle maker for her birthday, and the look of disappointment on her face was priceless, and I wish I could have had a camera. But I was like, if only you knew that I just bought the ring today, you would not be angry at me, but this is hilarious.
That's awesome. Did you shared this, I assume, with her after after the engagement? That's pretty funny.
And the funny thing was, like, I made fun of her for having that look of disappointment and being like, oh, I'm sorry, I only got you a waffle maker. And she's like trying to make it up to me. She's like, no, it's okay. I really, really like it. I was like, don't lie to me. Straight to my face right now.
That's awesome.
So the year's over.
The year is 2014 is behind us now. We are in the year of the hoverboard and the flying car.
Are we?
According to Back to the Future, man, they went to 2015.
Are you serious? I didn't know that.
In the second movie, yes, they did, and I'm expecting my flying car by the end of the year.
Wow, that's why I saw all those news articles saying we're not ready for flying cars.
That's what it was, yeah.
Well, that's amazing.
It's what annoys me, just a quick aside, but what annoys me is that for years now I've been seeing these edits that people have been posting up on Facebook where it's like, you know, it's a shot of the time selector in the DeLorean, and it would have whatever the current date was, and it's like, where's my flying car? And I'm like, it's that you Photoshop this. It's not here yet.
You can't even get karma on Facebook, you idiot.
It's the year 2015 because it was 30 years ahead of 1985, which was the central year for the movies.
Okay.
But whatever. That's just a rant of mine. They can start posting it now because it's actually 2015.
Right. Yeah, now it makes sense.
So
Interesting.
But SnoShoe and Drew and myself are going to take a look back at 2014 and also look forward at 2015 and try and figure out what we expect other than flying cars.
Dude, 2014 sucked.
You didn't have a fiance yet.
No, man. I did for a couple days, but I really, it didn't count.
Yeah, 2014 sucked. It was the year in which you got engaged.
It was really... The reason it really sucked for me was because it was the year in which Watch Dogs came out.
Yes. We've talked about how bad Watch Dogs was.
And I think, to me, that's what represents gaming in 2014. And I think that's really what is going to represent gaming in 2014 for me. Because there were so many games like that.
They had a lot of hype and then really didn't deliver.
Yeah, the year of the unneeded hype.
I would agree with you. I mean, there hasn't been a whole lot of stuff that came out in 2014. There wasn't a whole lot that I was getting excited about myself, personally. And it's possible because I just saw past the hype, and it's possible that, I just don't get into new games so much these days as I used to. But yeah, stuff like Watch Dogs, and even some of the even games that are a bit more popular, like Sims 4 and stuff like that.
Right, Sims 4. Okay, I've got a list right here that who is this? This is Angry Joe putting together, and he says this is his list of the top 10 disappointing games of 2014. And I know we haven't talked about all of them, but there's a decent amount on here. So number 10, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I know what my number 2 after Watch Dogs would be, but you can read the list and I'll see if
I want to hear your predictions before this. I want to see if it's on the list.
Well, Watch Dogs was definitely my number 1, but my number 2 was absolutely Elder Scrolls Online.
Wow, that's amazing.
I still think Elder Scrolls Online should have been they should have just taken those cinematic trailers and made it into a movie.
Just build it as a movie and said, here you go. Pay $60 for this. I don't know how much ESO even cost.
It was a $60 game, and then it was a first month free, and then it was I want to say $15 a month.
Oh my gosh, that's just that's bad.
Yeah,
That's a lot of money.
I played I played like 2 days of it. All in total, I played maybe 4 hours.
Wow.
It was bad.
Yeah, that's terrible. Okay, let me go through this list real quick, and we'll pull asides from it. Here we go. Number 10. We talked about this game a little bit. Civilization Beyond Earth.
Another one where the trailer was better than what the game was going to be.
I'm sure. I don't think any of us actually played that game, but the trailer was so cool.
A friend of mine was all about. In fact, I think that's what he wanted for Christmas. I think that he had that on his Amazon wish list for the gift exchange this year, and so we got him a copy of Civilization Beyond Earth.
No, I was hoping Santa saw Beyond the Hype.
Well, you know what? I told him. I said to him, I was like, look, I'm getting this against my will. It was on your list, so I'm getting it for you, but I just want you to know that I think that this was a horrible idea.
Jeez.
Merry Christmas.
All right, so that was number 10. Number 9 was The Crew. I don't think we have any experience with that one.
That's a racing game?
I hadn't even heard about it.
Right?
Sorry, what was that?
That's a Ubisoft racing game, right?
Yes, I think so. What it looks like is it had the worst AI, blah-de-blah-de-blah. Yeah, I mean, pretty normal for suck. Number 8 was NHL 15. Now, this one really intrigues me, because a lot of people were really... they really liked NHL 14, and I think NHL's been a decent franchise for those fans. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong on that. But supposedly, NHL 15 just had all of these game-breaking, not necessarily features, just bugs to it, which is really weird. That's kind of something EA can hang their hats on, are those yearly installments of the sports games. So,
It's the only thing I think that keeps EA actually afloat is the fact that
Probably
they can
true.
kick out, here's your, national sports game of the year where essentially all we really did was input new stats so that, everybody will just pick whatever team won this particular season.
could be. I will say they did a fantastic job with FIFA. I guess it was FIFA 15. I really enjoyed that game, and I still play it every once in a while. Maybe it's just because I hadn't played FIFA in a while, and maybe that's what you guys need to do with those sports games if you're into that. What I've been doing is buy them like once every, 3, maybe 4 years, and then you'll really see the updates between one and the other. But if you really have to have it every year, then you're going to see like the minor updates, but man, I don't know if that's worth spending 60, $70.
It's like the proverbial frog in the pot of water, the turning the heat up slowly. You're not really going to notice year after year.
That's morbid.
Well, I couldn't think of a better analogy off the top of my head. But yeah, I mean, you're not going to really notice year after year. If you have a gap, I can see why you would notice. I mean, I had the only sports games that I ever actually bought, I think, and I think I only actually bought the one, but I played both of them. It was NFL Quarterback Club for the Nintendo 64.
Yep, I got that one at a garage sale.
I had played Quarterback Club 98, but I think I purchased 99. And so I could see minor differences between the two, but they were essentially the same game. And that was probably the first time that I really realized that there wasn't any point to me buying sports games.
I'd really like to see one year after another in that progression, because what you're talking about. You look at Quarterback Club 98 or whatever, and then you look at Madden, whatever the newest one was. They had 25,
right.
But I think they had 2015. But like the changes in the graphics are definitely increased just a little bit over time, and I'd like to see that gradient to where you get from. I remember playing. It had to have been Madden, it had to have been 95 or something. I remember playing that, and then the gradient from that to what we have now. That'd be crazy to look at.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, okay, so that's your sports games year in review. Number 7 is The Sims 4. Again, I think I have the same kind of dilemma with this one, is that I bought The Sims 2 and The Sims 3, but I didn't play The Sims 3 very much. And I think that's just because I was busy with college and stuff. But The Sims 4 to me is really fun, and I spent quite a few hours on that game, and I didn't really see much problem with it. But I think to the hardcore Sims fans, it became one of the really big disappointments.
Well, I think the fact that there were so many things that had in Sims and Sims 2 been, and probably even in Sims 3, although I never played that one, but had been core features of the game that weren't there at release of Sims 4. Even if it comes later for free, that's going to make people go, it at least ruins the hype. Even if the game ends up being decent by the time they're done with it, don't give me the game that you're not done with yet.
I think that's probably what it was.
Yeah.
But definitely I'm not as interested in building things in The Sims 4, because I remember back in The Sims 2, I was really into building a house, and it was like architecture for kids or something, because you can build all these walls and build this house that is something crazy looking, and you could actually put it on the internet, which is one of the very first times I remember sharing content over the internet with other people. Mm-hmm. And it got 50 downloads, which was crazy to me that 50 people online downloaded the thing that I made.
Yeah.
So, but in The Sims 4, I'm like, just give me a stock house. I'll play with the guys just in the house. There's no point in me building one.
Mm-hmm.
My wife was always really into the building aspect of The Sims and The Sims 2. We haven't played in this house anything past The Sims 2. Or at least we don't own anything. I think she had played Sims 3 a little bit on other people's systems, but she was always really into the building stuff. But I was never really into the building thing. I much preferred trying to get through do the career paths and doing all of that stuff.
Yeah. That's always one of my favorites too, and I think that's one of the Sims 4's strong suits is the career stuff. I don't know, maybe other people have different opinions on that. Okay, number 6, one that is a big topic of this podcast: Assassin's Creed Unity.
Yeah,
that one hurts. I'm not gonna buy it. This may be one of the first games that I purposefully do not purchase that I was going to purchase because it's got such bad reviews.
I will let you guys know at some point in the future what I think of the game. It came with the Xbox One like no extra
Oh,
price.
it's that bad that it came with the Xbox One?
Well, it was one of those bundles.
I guess. I had a really good game called Cameo that came with the Xbox, so I can't argue with that.
So I'll let you guys know, but I'm not expecting much.
I can't believe that they would lay an egg on the franchise like that.
I mean, plenty of franchises have gone south very easily, so.
But that's Ubisoft's. I mean, I guess they have quite a few flagship franchises.
Well, even then, though, even when it's like, this is like the big thing for this company, you know, when after they've come out with a certain number of them, they try to go in a different direction to try and keep it fresh so that people don't complain. It's just the same thing redux, you know. Well, when they try to do that, then you have the people that complain that, well, now it's not as good as it should have been or whatever, you know. So it just seems like you can only ride a franchise for so long sometimes.
Yeah, I think Mr. Yamamoto would like to have a word with you.
Well, there are exceptions to the rule.
Yeah. Is it Yamamoto? Did I just screw that up?
I think
completely?
It's Miyamoto, isn't it?
Oh, wow. What's Yamamoto? Is that might be the steakhouse by my house. Yamamoto. What is Yamamoto?
I don't even know what you guys are talking about.
Well, Miyamoto is the guy behind like
totally
Mario
what I meant
and
to
stuff.
say. I knew that right when I said that. Yeah, that was right. Mr. Miyamoto, yes.
Isoroku Yamamoto was a Japanese martial admiral that died in 1943.
Yes, he was. People also search for Hideki Tojo. I know who that is, so that was not what I meant to say. We'll go with Miyamoto.
Oh man,
but yeah, no. I mean, I think Nintendo just puts these other franchises to shame. I mean, look at the progression of stinking Zelda that we were talking about earlier. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, they have rarely taken a misstep. And even when they have taken a bit of a misstep, there's so many people that disagree with the fact that they took a misstep. Like, lots of people think that Twilight Princess was a misstep. But lots of people say
I would say Twilight Princess was a bit of a misstep. But at the same time, it wasn't that bad either. You know, like, when they do mess up, it's, like you said, it's not... They don't end up stepping that far afield. Something about Nintendo, they just know how to do their franchises.
It kind of reminds me of I don't know, like your favorite musician, right? When they come out with a new album, lots of times you're like, man, that's a really good album. And lots of times, I've had some of my favorite musicians come out with a new album, and it's like, I didn't necessarily like that. But it doesn't leave you with the feeling that, hey, these guys just made a couple songs so they can make some money. It's like, they're doing their own thing, and they really are enjoying what they're doing. Mm-hmm. But it just doesn't necessarily agree with me. And that's the feeling you get with Nintendo. It's a form of art, the way they're doing it. Mm-hmm. And you're like, this all makes sense, but it's not my cup of tea. But this Ubisoft stuff, that's why people are getting so bent out of shape about this, is because it is clearly a cash grab, and they're taking all of our, I don't know, our feelings about what we thought was art for granted.
Yeah.
So, I'm kind of surprised.
I guess we should get back to...
Sorry, I was just going to say, I'm kind of surprised people do keep managing to react this way, though, just because, like, we've seen other series, like Call of Duty has so many games in it, and at this point, they're just all the same, and yet, like, and so many people complain about it, and yet so many people still buy it, and...
It's the hope.
Right, but I'm saying, like, you don't hear the complaints about... I mean, you hear the people who don't play Call of Duty, like, making fun of it, but you don't hear the same complaints that people do with Assassin's Creed and other now long-running franchises, and I wonder why that is.
I think it's because Call of Duty has run their course so dry at this point that they are basically, they've weeded out all of the people who were just casual fans of Call of Duty. Now it's only the people that are playing it that are like, yeah, I really, really like Call of Duty, and that's why I bought every single one of them every year, whatever it is. But everybody else sees it as a joke now. And I think that's what Assassin's Creed may be in 2 or 3 years. You've still got these people who are just diehard Assassin's Creed fans just because they're not true gamers that try to play all different kinds of games. They're just like, man, I just play Assassin's Creed. And that's how people with Call of Duty are, I think. Speaking of Call of Duty, it's number 5 on our list. Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. Segway!
Yeah. You know, none of those games have really been appealing to me in recent years. The Call of Duty, the Battlefield. What's the other one that I'm thinking of?
I've watched some Arma. I'm pretty interested in Arma. I might pick that up at some point.
I can't think of what the other one is now. But yeah, those sorts of games, they just have not caught my eye recently, because it just feels like the same thing over and over again for me. How much can you really do with a game where you run around in first person view and shoot people?
Yeah,
I mean, that's all you're really doing in these games.
The thing that gets me about those,
I'm not much of an FPSer myself.
Yeah, I think that's the thing that gets me about those, is that everybody else who I'm playing with is such a hardcore FPS person, and I'm not. And so it's like, you walk out and get shot in the head, and you're like, well, all right, that was $60.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I don't know. Should we move on to number 4?
We should, yes.
Okay, number 4, Titanfall. Drew, didn't you do a Titanfall thing?
Titanfall was really good. Maybe not worth as like the full price. I don't know. It was lacking. I mean, where Call of Duty and Battlefield, like, they have a story, but nobody gets it for the story. Titanfall, their story was literally just multiplayer with some people talking in the background about what was going on. So I was a little disappointed that there wasn't really a storyline, but it's an extremely fun game. And I actually recently just got back into it. And I don't feel like I was gypped at all. Like, it was overall a good experience, and I really enjoyed it.
Interesting.
I haven't played it, but I will say that as far as FPSs go, I did think that this was kind of a neat. It was the first game that I've seen in a long time to put a new twist on the genre, so I'll give it that. But again, part of the problem is with these games is that there's so much hype pre-release that I think they end up defeating themselves a little bit. Like, they want to drum up all this excitement so that people go out and buy the game, and then the game ends up not living up to the hype most of the time. So,
well, that's my first experience with Titanfall was playing it at PAX, and that really did it for me. So,
interesting. Well, speaking of hype, we've already mentioned it. Number 3, Watch Dogs.
Watch Dogs. Chess Simulator 2014. How many episodes of Watch Dogs did you end up actually bothering to make? Like 3?
Let me check for you.
Because I know it was like you put up a couple of episodes and then shortly after it stopped, I think you had mentioned on the podcast, you're like, there's this stupid vaguely chess puzzle thing that a 2-year-old could figure out, and like it was just that was your main thing. You were like, and the entire game is along the same lines. I
have 4 episodes.
4,
and
okay.
The last one is entitled Chess, quote-unquote, Grandmaster. And that sums up my entire feeling towards the game. It was so hyped, and it told you how good it was, and then it was just bad.
Yeah.
Like, everything about it. I don't know. I want to finish it to learn the story, I guess, because that may be the only redeeming factor. But I think the reason I really stopped that series, the chess thing really peeved me, because it made me think that I was doing a good job, and like I could just see right through it. It was like this 2-year-old's puzzle that I just did 10 levels of, listened to the worst repetitive audio while I was doing it of a cafe people talking about, it was something obscene that they were talking about too. And then the pixelation on that, which I've discussed multiple times, was just ridiculous. But I went for a side quest right after that, and it's not shown in that episode. Went for a side quest, tried to hack something, I don't know, it was a dumb side quest. You run around and try to basically hit a certain amount of checkpoints in a certain amount of time, just the most basic side quest you can think of. And whenever I tried to hack something, you're standing right next to it, pushing the hack button, and it doesn't hack. And I'm like, okay, are you kidding me? And so there's no way to complete the side quest. So, I don't know.
Watch Dogs was a thing where there was a lot of hype leading up to it, and then when it first released, it was like it burned super bright for about, an hour.
Yeah.
And then you just never heard about it again. You could talk to somebody, if somebody just like came onto the gaming scene and they went and they scoured all the gaming sites during like November and December 2014, they would have no idea that a game called Watch Dogs had ever existed.
Yeah, unless it was one of these review shows telling me how bad it was.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. There's gotta be, it has to be, we have to turn over a new leaf in 2015. Like, this stuff cannot happen again. Just to round out the list. So number 2 was Elder Scrolls Online, funny enough. And we've already kind of mentioned that. Anything else you have on that one, Drew?
Nope.
Nope, done with that one. And then number 1 was Destiny.
No.
Oh, yeah. Destiny.
Destiny was really good.
It's funny that you disagree on that one. I know somebody else that I have had this opinion with before, and they've disagreed.
Destiny would probably be my game of the year.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Like, there was nothing else that stood out to me. Like, we've talked about it before. It wasn't amazing. Like, it was a year of low standards, but there's something about it that makes you want to keep playing, and that's what they did a really good job on, was just it makes you want to keep playing. I'll admit, I haven't played it as much lately because I got new games for Christmas and stuff that I really wanted to get into, but it was extremely good. It's been a long time since I've played a fun first-person shooter.
That's crazy. Destiny's your game of the year. So I guess now that we've rounded out that list, so Drew, your game of the year is Destiny.
I can't think of anything else that I played that came out this year that was...
Well, here's to hoping that in 2015 we can figure out what our game of the year was, because there were so many good ones that we couldn't pick. Not just, here's what's left over after everything else sucked.
Yeah.
Do you have a game from 2014 that you think was superior, SnoShoe?
Oh yeah, FIFA 15 for sure.
Right. Yeah, you had mentioned.
Yeah, and again, it may be because I didn't play the previous versions, but in FIFA 15, if you don't know, there's like this new, I don't know how new it is, I guess, but this market system where you kind of play a trading card game to get your players on your team, and then you go out and you play the games. And I don't know, I really enjoyed that. It was like kind of a stock market trading card scenario. It was really
that's
cool.
Interesting.
I really
not what I would
it.
expect out of a sports game.
Nope, it's fantastic.
I just remembered. I don't know if I can exactly call it Game of the Year. I haven't played it enough yet, but Shadow of Mordor is amazing.
Ooh, yeah, that could be mine.
I started playing it this year, but I forget that it did come out last year, and it is extremely fun. And I'll have to see as I get farther in if some of the like side missions start to feel repetitive or anything. But it's very fun right now.
My honorable mention for me is Shadow of Mordor, and then Mario Kart 8, just because I'd never expected Mario Kart to look so beautiful. It's so nice. There's some of the levels that I'm just like, man, this is just, how did they do this? Anyway, Slash, have you played enough games to have your game of the year besides Minecraft?
Well, I don't know. Minecraft doesn't really qualify when it didn't initially release in 2014.
They've released point updates, and
I have played a lot of Minecraft. You know, Kerbal Space Program went into beta in 2014, and their beta has been fantastic.
Beta of the year?
No, I haven't. Beta of the year, yeah. I don't know that I actually even touched a game that released in 2014.
What?
I mean, looking back, I just don't really buy games anymore.
Starbound
initially, yeah, I guess they started putting that out.
Was it 2014?
I think that was 2014. I don't know. It's been a whole year now. I couldn't tell you.
It was pretty early 2014 if it was. Initial release day is 2013.
Oh, so there you go. Starbound doesn't even qualify. Wow. See, I don't think I've touched a single game that released in 2014. You know, Candy Crush Soda Saga. That one I'm pretty sure came out in 2014 for the phone.
Oh gosh, I'm so sorry. I did get Catan on my phone, and Catan on my phone is fantastic. So
I have Catan on my phone as well, and that can be fun too. Yeah.
Well, your resolution can be to play more games. Have a game of the year next year.
I will try to have a game. My game of the year for 2015 will probably be the one new game that I obtained in 2015. So, in future podcast episodes, you can wait for me to say I bought a game and it is blank and I have been playing it, and then you'll know when December comes around or January 2016 that was my game of the year for 2015.
Nice. So what? I guess. For me, my main thing, looking forward, my resolution for what gaming needs to be, is we need to lose the hype. And I don't think it's going to happen, but I think 2014 was such a dumpster fire that I think people are so leery now, and I think pre-orders are going to be down, hopefully. And I think that people are going to be so aware of the fact that these games have been sucking that I think we don't have anywhere to go but up. I think we hit rock bottom in 2014. So I expect, and here's my New Year's resolution for all of these game companies listening to our podcast, that you will not hype up your game If it's not ready, don't release it, and just like what you make. I mean, I can't imagine all these people were liking what they were making when they're making Assassin's Creed Unity and ESO and everything.
Yeah. Like, if your development team is saying, I don't know that this is really going very well, listen to them.
Don't just cut ties with it. I mean, you have a chance. Every game company has a chance to make the next Minecraft.
Yeah. You know, I don't know, because I think the problem that we run into there, though, is that with these games, when you consider digital distribution, right, there's very little cost to actually selling the game, right? I mean, you're talking paying for servers to host them, bandwidth to send them out, you know, and you know, if you're still getting it on DVD or whatever, you're talking about printing onto DVDs. But it's the cost of the actual distribution of video games these days is practically negligible for these big name companies, right? But the cost that they price the games at is still fairly high.
Oh yeah, profit margins are insane.
Yeah, so they don't need you to like the game that much. Once you play it, they just need you to buy into it and buy a copy.
Well, then it's time for new developers. Like, this would be the perfect time for these indie developers to expand from being indie developers to decent companies, because they can actually make something that is decently priced and is great quality.
I completely agree with you. I just don't know if the big companies have the motivation to try to do that. You know, I don't know that they necessarily are going to see a need to. They're still going to be able to make their profit margins off of the tactics that they've used in the past.
Yeah. Well, I think we saw some of what we're talking about in 2014, that most of the top games, which it'd be cool if we had a list. I don't think I have a list. Most of the top games of 2014 were not from big developers. Mm-hmm. So...
No?
I don't know. I think that'll be an interesting thing to see in 2015, is if we do get good titles from large developers, or if the good games continue to rise from the dust. You know?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, one can hope. One can hope. I've had quite a bit of enjoyment of the indie published video games. So, you know, that's where my heart lies, generally.
I'm stuck on Euro Truck Simulator right now. Fantastic game. It really is a good game.
Well, we're talking about 2015 expectations. Why don't we spend a moment to dive into our personal expectations, what we think we'll be doing over the course of the year, and with the podcast in general. I mean, is there anything that you guys would like to see yourselves do on your own channels, or just in your own lives, or the podcast, you know, as a whole, that we want to try to do in 2015?
More collaboration. We need to play games.
Yes.
This is true.
I was thinking about this earlier today, because I was like, you know, we talk about games, but there's still other stuff we can do. And I was thinking, there's got to be like some kind of cool Minecraft game you could play. So I'm
do an
gonna
adventure map or something together.
Maybe that, or I don't know. I have ideas, but they need to be fleshed out a little bit. We'll see if they work. But yeah, at least an adventure map or something that we can do some more collaboration with, I think.
I think that would be very cool as well.
Yep.
Drew, you want to finish Castle Crashers?
I mean, I've beat it before, but I'll finish it with you, sure.
Well, who knows if we're even going to be able to play it. Last time we tried to play the game, we spent however much more time than we actually showed on recording just waiting for the swirly thing to go off the screen, because our ping was terrible to each other.
Yeah.
You were getting swirlies.
We were getting swirlies. It was bad.
That sounds particularly bad, yeah.
I don't know. What about you guys personally, though? I guess you can do your channel too. You haven't talked about your channels.
Yeah, we'll start with Drew. What are you looking to do with 2015? Personally, professionally, whatever.
Yeah, I have several things. First of all, for my channel, I don't know that I'm going to be making videos much. I don't really enjoy doing the solo content, really, even though I love collaborations. So I'm thinking, now that I've figured out how to actually get it configured, which I don't think is really something I talked about on the podcast, but I have streaming capabilities now, so I'm hoping to stream more this year.
He has the capability.
Yeah, at least like a couple times a month would be nice. So
pretty cool.
Yep, that's pretty much all I have in mind for my channel. Other than that, I don't think I've mentioned this on the podcast before, but I am making a game, and I would like to finish that this year.
What?
Is that something you're doing in Minecraft, or is that
No,
like something that you're doing from
it's
scratch?
not a video
or what?
game. I'm basically taking elements that I like from a whole bunch of role-playing games like D&D, Munchkin, some video games as well, and I'm taking the elements of those and I'm combining them together into a card game, sort of Munchkin-ish, but more complex. And yeah, hopefully it'll turn out to be something that you could play in somewhat of a D&D format if you really wanted to, like have a story, or you could just play it in like an hour, just like a round, more like Munchkin. So
Cool. I like that. Good luck to you on that. I look forward to seeing the progress.
yes, I'm very
Yes, you
excited.
can mail
about
it to us.
I
I would appreciate it.
I also want to do for some more personal or professional stuff. I would like to move up in my job a little bit. I know there's the possibility of that, so that'd be awesome if that happened.
Cool.
As well as I want to finally get my GED and maybe even, start college. So,
An admirable pursuit, for sure.
yeah. So, yeah, that's about it for me. I have some other stuff that I'd like to try to get done, like creative-wise. I want to start drawing more. But, yeah, that's about
I
it.
tried to draw the other day. I decided that I should start drawing more because I like to think that I could draw, and then I try to draw something, and then I'm quickly reminded that I cannot draw.
What really got me back into it is, one, I started watching the Smite art show again, and they have fan art submissions, and I want to do some of those just because I think it'd be fun.
Ah.
But for daughter's Christmas present, which I actually just finished and sent it to her last night, I did some fan art for her, so that was fun to do.
Like fan art of daughter?
Yes.
Cool.
That is cool.
So for 2015 for me, I some consistency in my video upload schedule is something that I'm aiming for. Because I'll do well for a little while, and then I'll have like a big gap where there won't be anything for almost a week, and I want to try to do an almost every other day thing, have something go up on my channel, just because it's just a good practice. They say you need to have content coming out regularly to keep people coming back, because otherwise they lose interest or whatever. But it's tough to do with 3 kids and only having one day a week that I really can record / want to record. So that's something I'm aiming for. I would love to be able to get into the streaming. I have the bandwidth for it. My computer should be able to handle it, and it was working fine when I first got into it, but for some reason nowadays when I go to stream, it just does not work, and I'm using the same settings I was using before. So I don't know what changed, but the Open Broadcaster Studio software is supposed to have a Linux version at some point. I'm hoping that comes out sooner rather than later and can help me out with some of that stuff.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I've got my fingers crossed on that front.
All right. Sounds cool.
What about you, SnoShoe? Do you have plans to put a video on your channel sometime this year?
I keep having plans, yes, and eventually something will go up. But I think first what needs to happen is one of my New Year's resolutions is to clean my computer, because there's just so much stuff on it and it's taking up so much space. To give you an idea, let me look at my... Okay, I have 189 gigs free of 1.8 terabytes. So I probably need to delete some stuff that I didn't want to delete, but I think it's time to clean it all out. And that's one of the things that's like, I don't know, it's killing me about my channel is I hate the file management part. So maybe if I can figure out file management, then we can do some stuff. But I don't know. I'm excited. I think I'm going to figure out some, like you were saying, some game reviews to do that not a lot of people have seen. And maybe not full playthroughs, because that's kind of what I did with Ether 1. And it doesn't get great views. And I don't know about you guys, but when you're not getting views on some of your videos, it's like, well, I don't want to make that one anymore, because what's the point in me putting all this effort into it if nobody's even going to watch it?
Right.
So, I mean, I like playing the games, but I want to do things that people want to watch. So like my first episode of Ether 1 has pretty decent views on it, but then it just trails off like crazy right after that. So maybe if you can put together like a little... I don't really mind, like you were saying, doing the high effort to low minutes of footage type thing. I don't really mind that. So maybe that's a route I will go. I don't know. We'll see.
All right.
So, hey, welcome to the questions section, guys.
Yeah.
Before we move on to two questions. I just want to say that Cox is a terrible internet service provider, and that's all I want to say for this podcast.
Snow has not had a good experience with Cox.
No.
It's a shame.
So much so, they're actually crediting my account, but maybe if you tune in next podcast, you will hear my experience.
Ooh.
We'll see.
Teaser.
Dun-dun-dun.
Maybe.
Dun dun dun. Fear the next podcast.
You should.
Sorry, let me do that again for you.
Oh, here we go.
Dun dun dun.
Oh, gosh.
That was not the direction I expected the pitch to go, but that's fine. But yes, we have hit upon questions, and we have questions from 4 of you guys this week.
Wow.
Partially because of our large hiatus since the last time we answered questions, and also because you guys are getting to be really good question askers. So we'll jump right into it. SnoShoe, fire away!
All right. Mojo Fojo, our first question asker, he says, "Hey guys, I have another in italics question. How do you say things that are in italics?"
With emphasis.
I have another question. Like that.
Yes, exactly.
He's not
You're
on the
beautiful.
toilet.
You deserve.
Maybe he is. You don't know. Maybe that's why it was in italics. If you 3 were stuck in a small room with infinite food and water and stuff, I don't know what infinite stuff could entail, but who knows? Who would be the most likely to go insane? Stay extra chunky.
I suspect SnoShoe as probably the more physically active of us.
Yeah.
You know
I
what's interesting
suspect.
about this question is that I just heard something on the radio this morning that NASA is offering $18,000 to somebody who is willing to perform a test for them, and they haven't said the what the goal of this test is, but basically you are to be confined to a bed for 2.5 months.
Oh my gosh.
Oh.
Yeah. So I think they're just trying to see like what you could possibly do to keep your muscles from atrophying, or just what you're gonna do while you're in the bed if it's gonna kill you.
Yeah, that's
So this question-
pretty nuts.
this question-
I mean, that's clearly for like long distance space travel.
Right.
It might be a preliminary thing for like a Mars trip or something.
That would be kind of crazy. If you're
Yeah.
like 80 years old and you're like, hey, I did the test for that. I laid in bed for 2.5 months. They say they'll like bring you food and everything, and you can watch Netflix, or you can pretty much do whatever you want as long as it's in a bed.
As long as you don't
They
get out of
say they'll bring you food.
That's in the terms
They
and
say
conditions.
a lot of things. Yeah.
By food, they mean the dehydrated grapes, which are
Yeah.
Raisins?
or
yeah.
whatever. Shut up.
Good job, man. That's amazing.
No, I think I would
Is there
be...
is there any dissent on the opinion that SnoShoe would be the first one to go insane?
Not from me.
Yeah, I mean, if we have infinite stuff, I mean, I would just read.
Oh my gosh. Reading? Who likes reading? I read the questions every week, and that's enough to make me go crazy.
That's barely
every week.
every 2 weeks. SnoShoe reads like 3 or 4 questions, and he's like, "Man, I'm so sick of reading. I've reached my reading quota."
Yes, it's like after the podcast is over, it's like a weekend for me, and then whenever the podcast happens again, it's like a work day.
That's
It's
amazing.
terrible.
Well,
no,
get
I
back
would
to
definitely
work.
go insane first.
Get back to work. What's the next question? Whoosh.
Well, this one's a 3-parter. Ugh. From Sarah JMCB, she says, "What is your favorite winter activity?" Is it still winter?
Yes.
It is still winter. Yes.
You know how warm it was in my locale yesterday and today?
what?
72 degrees.
That's gross.
Right. It was
As
weird.
if I needed more of a reason to replace you on this podcast.
No. And I just got back from Orlando not too long ago, and I'm going to Miami next week.
So SnoShoe's favorite winter activity is swimming.
Apparently so. I haven't actually swam in any of those places.
I do enjoy sledding. I don't do it very much, but I would say I probably enjoy sledding at the most out of all winter activities. What about you, Drew?
I don't know. Previous years, I might have said, like, doing stuff in the snow, but I've slowly liked that less and less, especially now that I have a car and I have to, like take care of it in the snow.
You just shovel driveways and scrape ice off of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It sucks getting to be an adult, man. Winter is not as cool as an adult as it is as a kid. That's for
I
sure.
have not personally done it in my car, but I've been in vehicles when this happened. So I would say my favorite one is going to snowy parking lots and doing donuts.
I was really wondering where that was going to go, but we'll leave that for the after show. See, for me, we don't get much snow. Like, it snowed twice here all winter so far. And one of them was the day that I was leaving for Orlando, so our plane got delayed, which was terrible. But I just got a new garage whenever I bought my house, so it's like I don't have to scrape ice off my windows anymore.
That's nice.
So winter has finally been kind to me this year. And it's 72 degrees right now, so that's kind of cool. But my favorite winter activity would be going to basketball games.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
All right.
Doesn't happen any other time of the year, so I guess it counts. All right,
That
part
counts,
2 of the
yeah.
question. If you were a snowman, what would you look like, and what would your name be?
Well, man, I don't know. I think I'd look like your typical snowman, except with glasses. I don't see myself going too far out of the box.
Wow,
With that one.
good answer.
Yeah, and I guess if I had to name myself, I would be Slushy.
Just slush. I think slush would be good.
I would be the snowman at Snow's house that's melting in the 72-degree weather in the front yard.
Yeah, as if we had. Actually, there was a snowman in my neighborhood whenever I got back from vacation. So we did have enough snow to make a snowman. There's nothing else around it, but there was a snowman.
What about you guys?
Drew?
I don't know, like, all I can picture, because it doesn't say a traditional snowman, it just says if you were a snowman. So I'm picturing essentially myself, but just made out of snow, like more of a snow sculpture. Like
Okay.
with arms and legs and
I
everything.
think that's fair.
And I don't know, I'd probably go with something like Iceman or like a superhero type
No, you
name.
stole my answer.
Snowman of the 43, I think is the
Oh, okay.
the appropriate response here.
That'd be a good one. See, yeah, I picture myself looking like Mr. Freeze for some reason. I don't really know. I have no really.
Like Arnold
no idea
Schwarzenegger,
why.
Mr. Freeze.
Yeah, like with my head stuck in a bubble or something.
Wow.
Like just put a fishbowl over
I
it.
don't know. Yeah, and like I was so cold that my skin was blue and everything. But I guess it's more of an Iceman than a snowman.
Yeah,
Oh well.
no, I think we're missing the obvious answer here. You would not be a snowman. You would be a snowshoe.
I would be a snowshoe,
you
just
would
a
look like
giant.
You would
shoe.
look like a giant shoe made out of snow, and your name would be Snowshoe. Yours
You know
is
what?
easy, man.
Just for irony, I would be a giant flip flop made out of snow.
I approve. Yes, I
right.
I think that would be perfect.
All right, part 3 of the question. Oh my gosh. It says, love your show, guys. Smiley face. Yeah, if you loved it so much, you wouldn't make a 3-part question.
Wow.
She wants to hear more
We
of our
appreciate.
voices.
Oh gosh, I dropped something. We appreciate your patronage to our free podcast. Number C. A Million Monkeys says, hey guys, Happy New Year.
Happy New
I
Year.
was wondering, as he normally does, if you had the ability to make everyone else on Earth vanish for one whole day, what would you do in that day? And who would you choose to stay if you could pick only one person?
So, okay, there's 2 ways that you could interpret that second part. One way is if you could make everybody but one other person vanish for a day, who would that one person be? And the other thing is if you could make everyone vanish for a day and then just bring back one person, everybody else stays away for the rest of the days, who would that be? And that second interpretation was my original interpretation, and then I realized that probably isn't what he actually meant.
I don't think so.
I don't know. Freak out, I think, is about the only thing that I would do. I mean, I'm a fairly solitary guy. I can be pretty happy on my own, and so I guess if the whole Earth vanished for a single day, I wouldn't be too put out by it in terms of social interaction and stuff like that. But I don't know. It'd be very odd because for one thing, I'm pretty sure that would cause power plants to explode. And
I was gonna say, are we assuming that everything is functioning
yeah,
normal? I can go get chicken just down the street if I feel like it? Or is there nobody to make chicken?
There's nobody to make children. Children!
Yeah, there's nobody to make children either.
I want some children nuggets.
Oh man. No, I think we're probably all in agreement that's just a scary scenario, and we just know.
Well, I mean, first of all, I would probably be freaked out by just like everything being super super quiet. Like
Right.
that would disturb me. But if I was at least aware of what was going on, like if I knew ahead of time this was going to happen, and it wasn't just like suddenly like where'd everyone go? I would probably just like do like not like bad stuff, but like not to other people stuff or whatever, but just like
Well, there wouldn't be anybody to do it to, but yeah.
yeah, exactly. But just like stuff that would normally be illegal, like go just like drive like 100 miles an hour down the bypass or whatever.
They're gonna wreck and die and ruin your chance of being the only one on Earth. That's what natural selection truly is about, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh man.
For me, I would have to assume that everything's unlocked, because if everything was locked and there was nobody to do anything, like I couldn't purchase anything, that would be just terrible, because I don't think you would have any power, any electronics, or I mean, you could read a book, really, is about all you could do, and play with... Is my cat gone? Is she still here? Oh, well.
Do you consider your cat a person?
Well, it says everyone else.
Yeah.
Not like every person else or whatever. So I don't know. It's open to interpretation.
I'm gonna assume my cat is not here, because I don't want her to be angry whenever I can't feed her because nobody's making food because everybody else is gone. I'm gonna assume that I can get into the NBA team's locker room and go run around and cause havoc, and then grab all of the balls off the ball rack and go shoot on the court.
Swipe some merchandise to sell on the black market.
Yes, just whenever everybody vanishes, I just have all the team jerseys and everything at my house.
Except when they
Nobody has any idea
when
how.
they reappear or whatever, they'll all know it's you because you were the only one.
They won't realize. They'll be like, man, that guy sure is a collector.
There's no way he obtained all that stuff while the rest of us were in some, lost a day somehow. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that has to be the best series of answers to that question. The only series of answers to that question. Thank you, A Million Monkeys. Question letter D from Six Gun Joe, a new question asker this week. He says, sub-question I, not again. Which James Bond is your favorite? Once again, we're going to need some more specifics on this question.
Two interpretations there. Which James Bond actor or which James Bond movie, I think, would be the two different interpretations there. And I have an answer for both, because I've seen, I think, every James Bond movie, starting from Dr. No and upward. And I would say that my favorite James Bond actor still remains Sean Connery. I think the latest guy, what's his name?
Not Pierce Brosnan. What's his name?
Daniel Craig.
I can't remember. What is it?
Daniel Craig.
Daniel Craig, that's right. I think he's been doing a fantastic job, and he's a close second for me. But I've definitely got the classic sort of nostalgia thing for Sean Connery as James Bond. So I think he's probably still my favorite James Bond actor. And then if I had to pick a favorite James Bond movie, I'm actually gonna go. GoldenEye was still really good. But I also rather liked. I think it was The Spy Who Loved Me, for the very simple fact that the car turned into a submarine in that movie, and I thought that was really cool. Like, I couldn't even really tell you the rest of the plot of that movie. Although Moonraker took place in space, and I'm kind of a space guy, so I don't know. It's difficult to narrow it down. But if I had to pick exactly one, I'd probably pick GoldenEye, because I played it on the Nintendo 64 as well. And so
what if they remade that?
What's that?
What if Nintendo remade that?
I would totally play an HD version of GoldenEye, and I think people want it.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things, just like Final Fantasy VII. They won't do an HD version of that, even though everybody loves that video game. Way to reopen an old wound, SnoShoe.
Yeah.
Sorry.
What about you guys?
I have only seen Dr. No and the parkour scene from one of the Daniel Craig ones. I don't remember which one it even was.
Oh, wow. So you're James Bond deprived.
Yeah, we had a plan to watch through all of them, and we watched Dr. No, and we haven't watched any since. So, and that was like 2 years ago.
I'm trying to think. It's not Goldfinger's next. I'm trying to think. What's the second one?
I have no idea.
Oh, it's bugging me now. I can't remember what the second one's called. From Russia with Love.
Okay.
I think it's the second one. and then it's Goldfinger, and then it's Thunderball. I used to, back in high school, I could recite the names of the James Bond movies in chronological order from Dr. No all the way up through.
That's amazing.
I have since forgotten that particular skill.
That's marketable.
But there's some really, I really liked, Goldfinger was really good in the classic era. Thunderball was right after that. That was also very good. So yeah, there's some ones towards the middle that I think is it Roger Moore?
Yeah.
That I got a little kind of boring or hard to follow the plot. But they're all pretty good. So I definitely recommend picking it back up if you can.
Yeah. But yeah, I didn't especially like Dr. No, honestly. I mean, not that I disliked it. It was just like, I can very well imagine that there are better ones.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Let me just dispute your theory here. I've been looking up the Rotten Tomatoes list of James Bond, and they ranked them based on the Rotten Tomatoes score. Dr. No is in fact number 1.
Oh, okay.
That might be more of a nostalgia factor, though. I mean, that is the first one. It's got some good quality to it as well.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't put it among the top James Bond movies.
I have a feeling that I would like some of the newer ones better just because of my taste in movies.
Yeah.
But I would
definitely pick up GoldenEye. GoldenEye is definitely, like, I think Pierce Brosnan did 4 of them, and I think I thoroughly enjoyed 3 of the 4. I think there was one that I was like, meh. But GoldenEye was not one of those. GoldenEye was very good.
GoldenEye was always my favorite. It was the one that was James Bond growing up for me.
And it's got Boromir in it as the bad guy.
Yeah, Sean Bean. Yeah. And Femke Jensen, who's like one of my favorite actresses.
Oh, that's true, yeah. Forgot she was in that one.
So, can I say my favorite?
Nope.
No, absolutely not. We're going to keep bombarding you with James Bond preferences.
Next question.
No, who's your favorite James Bond actor?
I would say Pierce Brosnan. One, because, I mean, like I said, I haven't actually seen the movies. I have seen Pierce Brosnan in other stuff, and I like him. And, he was also, like, when I was little and I heard about James Bond, that's just, like, who I knew of as James Bond.
Yeah. He's got the suave for it. There's no doubt about it. Like, he has, like, Daniel Craig's James Bond is a James Bond for the modern era, the more gritty kind of, like, Jason Bourne kind of, character. But I think Pierce Brosnan definitely had the suave, classic James Bond feel to him. So I would agree with that as well.
I can't go against Sean Connery, and I would have to say GoldenEye because that's been always my, N64 came out in 1995. It's just, it was James Bond for like my whole life pretty much.
Yep, I hear you. Definitely.
All right, last question today. Six Gun Joe asks, again, what is your favorite time zone?
Eastern Standard Time.
Ooh.
Eastern Standard Time is the best time zone.
Not even Eastern Daylight Time? You sure?
No, Eastern Daylight Time is like the not as cool younger brother.
Is he still cooler than the other time zones?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's better than a lot of them, but Eastern Standard Time is definitely my favorite.
Oh man, it's such an odd question. I've never like mentally ranked time zones in my head. I guess I'll go with Greenwich Mean Time because it's where all of the time zones are based off of. That's where it starts.
I hate that because I thought that was actually supposed to be where like stay in the one spot. But then when Europe has daylight saving times, they go to Greenwich Mean Time +1, and then I'm like, well, what's the point of UTC then? Because I thought that was, yeah.
Nope.
Well, yeah, you say that about UTCs. No, UTC is not an actual time zone. But it's if I had to pick a favorite, and that qualified, I would pick that because that's more along the computer aspect of it. Time on Linux systems and Unix systems, the time is stored on the system in UTC. For some reason, Windows feels like it has to set the system's time to your local time zone, which is idiotic. But the proper operating system set it to UTC and then do the conversion on the fly. And so I, as a programmer type, I'm more into UTC than anything else.
Okay, Snow.
Hang on, I'm looking up the name for it.
Oh gosh.
What is it?
Are you looking for one of those
obscure
ones?
Pacific Ocean time zones?
That's like
no, it
that's
is
like a 15
Newfoundland
or a half.
Standard Time.
What is
Yes.
it?
Newfoundland Standard Time?
Newfoundland Standard Time. It is UTC minus 3 hours and 30 minutes.
I knew it. I knew it was going to be one of those weird ones that have the 15 or 30 minutes. And that's like the... I pride myself in knowing the time zones of like where all my online friends live. So I'm like, oh, they're 6 hours ahead of me or whatever. I'm glad I don't know anyone who lives in one of those time zones. That would...
There's not any humans that live in Newfoundland, so... I'm just assuming, because nobody could possibly keep up with a 3.5 hour time zone. That's impossible.
That's weird. That's really, really weird.
Yeah.
Like, I went up to Indiana a couple of years ago, and they're like right on the border of time zones where you can be on like one side or the other. So when you schedule meetings with people, you have to be like, I mean, I think everybody talks in the same time zone, but you have to be sure or else you'd be an hour off. But I don't know how in the world, like Newfoundland isn't a big place, is it?
I don't know, honestly. I mean, Newfoundland's in Canada, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's
right next to Labrador.
It's decently sized geographically. I mean, it's about the size of, I don't know, like New York, maybe?
No, it looks a lot bigger, but I can't tell. It looks bigger than Maine.
Wow. So I don't know. I mean, it's weird. I don't know how you handle that in the slightest.
Wait, Newfoundland is Labrador. Mind blown. Huh.
That splorching sound you heard was SnoShoe's head exploding.
Today we learned about Newfoundland has a combined area of 405,000 square kilometers, or 156,000 square miles.
Wow, that metric conversion is really crazy.
It is pretty crazy.
400,000 square kilometers, or 50 meters, or 50 miles. I don't know what I'm saying now.
Hang on.
Can I complain about something in time zones really quick?
Yeah, sure, while we're on the topic.
So there are certain... I think people need to be educated better about time zones because there are people who don't seem to understand the difference between, like, well, let's just say for Eastern, they don't understand the difference between Eastern Standard and Eastern Daylight, and so even when it's daylight, they'll still call it EST, and that's wrong.
I will agree with that, yeah.
The reason this bothers me is because there are places that don't follow daylight savings, and so, like, in, I believe it's Illinois, it's either Illinois or Indiana, they don't...
half of Indiana and all of Arizona.
Okay.
Do not switch their clocks for daylight saving
So
time.
Indiana is technically Central Standard Time, but then when they switch to Central Daylight Time, Indiana stays standard, and so then it becomes... I forget if it becomes the same as Eastern Daylight or if it's...
It becomes the same as Eastern Daylight at that point.
It's so bad.
Yeah.
Why?
Because it would be...
Or is it
Central
Mountain?
Standard Time would be UTC -6. So they would become the same as Mountain Daylight, I think. And so it'd be really... I mean, it's bizarre.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, it's weird.
Well, just so you guys know, Newfoundland and Labrador is exactly almost 3 times the size of New York State.
Well, there you go. That's a lot of people to be on a half time zone.
Oh, you want to know how many people live there? Hang on.
Well, it's Canada, so there's probably like 5 in log cabins. out in the
No,
woods.
514,000 as of 2011.
Oh, I didn't know you were going to have that 1,000. I was like, it is pretty small.
514, sucker! Yeah. Half a
They
million
know what
people.
it's like to be the only person in the world. Everybody else has disappeared for them.
That is weird, though. I mean, that's 500,000 people whose clocks are 30 minutes off from where almost everybody, the other 7 billion people on the planet, like, what's the minutes read on yours? Oh, 33? Oh, mine just says 3. Like, that's just weird. Like, why? I don't know. That doesn't make... It's freaking Canada, man. They're weird up there.
Yeah, they'll make
I'll tell you
friends
what,
with them.
though. I will tell you definitively that I definitely have a least favorite time zone. And that
What
is
is it?
the end of the podcast time zone.
Oh, so sad for all
and we
you guys.
have reached it today at
It's
this
over.
point in the podcast.
Well, see you next 6 months.
yeah, SnoShoe. Yeah. Well,
I'm really happy. You know, I yelled out in the middle of that time zone discussion at Drew because I was pretty sure he was about to go on a rant about how I'm really bad with time zones, which is weird because I completely understand them and I don't think I'm bad with them, but I continuously screw them up. So thank you, Drew.
Yeah,
there may
think
have
I
been a
told the
story
Wither story.
told.
Yeah, I told the Wither story. I don't remember if I told you after or if that was on the podcast.
I think it might have made it to the podcast. I'm not sure, though.
No!
SnoShoe
You
will
guys
have
are
to actually
jerks.
listen to it and let us know whether that
I
made
will.
it in.
I listened to the one with Inerston long enough to realize that he was not as good as me, so maybe I'll listen to the next one.
Well, we talked about the wither fight, so...
Yeah.
Hashtag Keep Snow 2015.
Wow.
That was actually added to the end of all those questions, by the way.
Just make sure the snow doesn't have a W, because we don't want to keep that snow.
No, we don't want the white fluffy stuff.
That's weird that you guys don't like snow.
I'm kind of hoping that we do get our comment section spammed with a bunch of people putting hashtag Keep Snow 2015.
Keep him.
Oh man. Well, anyway, yes, that's going to do it for this episode, everybody. Thanks for listening. We appreciate your questions. And we will see you, I guess the next episode should be, barring any issues, on February 4th. So we'll talk to you guys then.
That's my half birthday.
Oh, it's SnoShoe's half birthday. He'll be 3.5.
I will be 3.5. I'll be able to live in Newfoundland for the rest of my life.
All right. Have a good one, everybody. Bye.
Bye. Goodbye. Cock sucks.
Oh my god.